Hello everybody, Bob1984 here again, and as you can tell by the title of this video, I'm going to be discussing why I love the Halloween movie franchise so much. Why do I like it? When did I first discover it? Things like that. Now obviously I put the trailer reaction video out a couple of weeks ago. I mentioned in that video I really am looking forward to the new Halloween film, which comes out in the UK on the 19th of October. I'm hoping that I will be seeing it on the opening day. If not, then I'll be very disappointed. But yeah, I am really looking forward to that film. And the first question that came into my head would be to offer, like, in case you guys were watching that video and thinking, well, obviously this came out of nowhere. Obviously I've explained in my channel update video that I am trying to do different things with the channel, and get a little bit of more of an insight into me as a person as well, and what I like and things like that. And obviously the Halloween franchise is one of my favourite horror franchises. For me, it is the one that started it all, in terms of obviously the slasher genre. That is an opinion not just of me, that's an opinion of a lot of people. Where did I first discover it? The question to that is, the answer to that is, I watched Halloween when I was about 13. I remember watching it with my dad, and he occasionally just used to say, do you want to watch some random films? And I would watch them. For instance, I watched Terminator 2, I believe I think in 1992, 93, when it came out in video. And this was it came out in 91, but obviously back then it took a long time for things to come out in video, sometimes up to a year after its theatrical release. So I remember watching films like that, which were obviously aimed at older people than I was. Obviously I was about 8 or 9 back then. I remember watching films like that when I was young, and Halloween was one of them. And I remember thinking that Halloween was quite scary. I'm watching it, and it's in it's late 90s when I'm watching it for the first time, and this is obviously a film that was already 20 years old. So a film that's 20 years old that was still able to scare somebody, and bring new people into that sort of thing, which Halloween is always able to do. People watching it for the first time nowadays are still scared by it, and that's why that's why it's such an iconic film. It's such an iconic horror film. It has the power to suck an audience in and really make them feel uncomfortable. I remember watching that in one of my favourite scenes in it, and what I always remember was quite spooky, is when Laurie looks outside and the washing line and sees Michael Myers staring back at her, and then the next minute he's gone. And like that, that's the sort of thing that just hooked me in. And from then on, I really I obviously looked into Halloween and the film, and realised obviously I wasn't aware obviously that there was a whole franchise of films back then. So I decided that I was going to try and hunt out the films, and this is back in the day when there wasn't things such as buying films digitally. It was all go to a video shop. You had to go to Blockbuster and rent a video. This is even before DVDs. So I used to go down to our local video shop quite a lot to try and learn more about obviously films. As I've mentioned before, I am what some would consider a film buff. But yeah, I went down there just to try and learn a little bit more, and realised that not only was there Halloween, there was Halloween 2, Halloween 3, 4, 5, 6. At that time, Halloween H2O was being made, I believe, and that's where obviously I started to get the interest in looking into things. So I did obviously I was too young. I wasn't able to go into a video shop and actually rent a film, because all these films were rated 18 in this country, in England. So I, at the time, as I say, 13, 14, years old and really just discovering, obviously, as I say, this franchise. So the only thing I could really do was look at the back of the cover, and I would get an idea as to what was going to happen in that, in whatever film I was looking at. And I remember looking at the front cover of Halloween 4 and thinking, my God, Michael Myers is, something's obviously happened. I don't know, he's back. It's the return of Michael Myers. I remember there was one particular Halloween, I believe it was the year of me watching the first Halloween, where Halloween 2 was actually shown on TV. So, back in the day, you would set your video recorder to record at a certain time, and you would and make sure you didn't miss whatever you were trying to watch. And I remember watching Halloween 2 and being really, really, really excited by it. I don't know why. Excited because I thought, I've got a whole franchise worth of films to watch here. It's not just, this doesn't end here. I knew, because obviously I discovered Halloween 4, that, Michael Myers returned. I'd never actually got to see Halloween 4 and Halloween 5 for about 4 or 5 years later, when I was actually able to buy the film myself. I remember, I've been quite disappointed that I couldn't see them. It was talked about, obviously, I talked with my friends about certain films in the Halloween franchise, and obviously would be told, what happened in parts 4, 5, and 6. And to me, obviously, looking into it, obviously when the internet first came around, and I would realise that these films weren't well received, but I still wanted to see them. Halloween H2O then came out, and I remember watching that, and because my dad was watching it, believe it or not, from a copy he had got from the video store, and I remember watching it and thinking, oh, this is awesome, Jamie Lee Curtis is back and things like that, but I still wanted to see Halloween 4, 5 and 6. And I finally got round to like I say, I mentioned earlier, I bought them myself when I became 18 and I got my first job and things like that. One of the first things I did was buy Halloween 4 and Halloween 5. And I always remember thinking that the mask on the front cover of Halloween 4 just looked awesome. It looked like a scary mask. My first reaction was, when I watched that film, is the mask was so disappointing. Obviously a lot of people talk about the difference between Halloween 1 and Halloween 2. It's supposed to be the same night, but Michael Myers' mask looks completely different. It does, but it's still the same mask, But Halloween 4, the mask that is worn in the film is not the mask that's on the poster. So that was my first disappointment. Halloween 5. Now, this almost killed any kind of interest in the Halloween franchise for me, because it was awful. And the mask, awful. Absolutely shocking. There was no resemblance to the first two films whatsoever. Introduces the now ridiculed Thorn storyline, and I didn't even bother buying Halloween 6. I thought, well, I'm absolutely gobsmacked at how bad 4 and 5 were. Obviously, Halloween 3, I knew, obviously, after research, that Halloween 3 was nothing to do with Michael Myers, and to this day, I've never seen Halloween 3. I'm not interested in Halloween 3, even though it might be a good film. I'm just not interested because I'm more interested in the Michael Myers character. But yeah, Halloween 4 and 5 almost put me off forever. So I eventually plucked up the courage to buy Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. I watched it, and it was god-awful. But I remember obviously discovering that there was a producer's cut, and this producer's cut was not available anywhere. There were clips available to download. This is even before YouTube. And I remember I actually bought a copy of that from eBay, which was a very, very, very poor quality copy, to be honest. But that was the only one that existed. Obviously, the extra scenes of the producer's cut were all, really poor quality, intertwined with the DVD. But that was the only way I could watch the producer's cut. The producer's cut was so much better than the original one. And by this point, obviously, Halloween Resurrection had already come out in the cinema. And I didn't go to the cinema to see Halloween Resurrection, even though I could have, because it was only a 15 here in the UK. I remember buying that on DVD and hating it. But it is still a film that I can watch now just for how bad it is. Just to, if I want to put something on and wanting a bit of gore and whatever. But getting back to the Halloween producer's cut, you know, I watched that and I thought, you know, this that film, the theatrical version, almost made me not want to watch anything to do with the Halloween franchise, and I thank God I watched the producer's cut. It's as simple as that. So obviously I'd already watched H2O. See, the problem with this is I didn't watch them all in order. I watched them whenever I could get my hands on them. So obviously H2O came, then Resurrection, and then we didn't get a Halloween film for a long time. And I remember sitting down again with my dad one random day and watching a film called The Devil's Rejects, which was directed by Rob Zombie, and it was one of the greatest films of that genre, you know, I've ever seen. I love it, and I still love it to this day. So when it was announced that Rob Zombie was going to be making a remake or a reimagining of the Halloween film, the original, I was excited. But when I went to see it, I was thoroughly disappointed. You know, it wasn't what I wanted it to be. There was too much backstory. It made the character of Michael Myers more human, and to me, I find it more scary. It's been said before, it's more scary when you don't know that there's somebody watching you if you were taking the trash out or something like that. It's more scary to not know about this character and why is he doing the things he's doing. And I thought that Rob Zombie's Halloween tried too hard. And then obviously a couple of years later it was announced that he was making a sequel, which was shot very quickly and released within 6 months. And although I liked some of the ideas in Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, a lot of it is just, it doesn't make sense. I mean, the white, you know, his mother and the white horse and things like that. No, it just went a little bit ridiculous for me. And then that's when, you know, I thought that is the end of the Halloween franchise. And then I got words that they were going to make Halloween 3D, which would have been just awful. And then it would have been legitimately killing off the franchise. But then we got the glorious news that John Carpenter was coming back. He's coming back to executive produce a new Halloween film. At that point, nobody knew that Jamie Lee Curtis was going to come back. But then obviously it was announced a few months later that David Gordon Green and Danny McBride, two people who were synonymous with the comedy genre, were writing and directing Halloween, which was a direct sequel to the original. And this is where it brings me up to today. And this is a brief glimpse into my world and my why I love Halloween and what made me so interested in it from the age of 13 onwards. And I am now sitting here 33 years old, fully excited and anticipating the new Halloween, which, as I say, comes out in exactly 1 month from today. So if you are a fan of the Halloween franchise, then please let me know in the comments, what is your favourite film? What's your worst film? You know, how do you like Michael? Do you like his progress? How he progresses in you know, from the first film to obviously the reimagining in Rob Zombie's vision? Let me know in the comments below everything that you want to tell me about your relationship with the Halloween franchise. And yeah, if you are as excited as I am, also let me know down below. But yeah, my name is Bobster1984. This has been my glimpse into why I love the Halloween franchise, and I'll see you in my next video very soon.